Who of us has never experienced any letdowns or disappointments? What about some of those unfulfilled promises or unmet expectations? As a result, we can become cynical about anything that sounds too good to be true. So we protect ourselves by being cautious and sometimes even mistrusting. We ask for proof. We demand reassurance before we commit ourselves to anything or anyone. Well, that's what happened to Thomas and the other disciples in today's gospel story. They had a 3-year internship, and they had come to believe that this Jesus of Nazareth might be the promised Messiah. They had left their jobs, their families, to follow him. But all this came to a horrifying and excruciating end with his crucifixion. Now they hid behind closed, locked doors, full of fear, shame, doubt. In John's gospel, the use of locked doors refers not only to the wooden doors of their hideout, but to the closed doors of their hearts. His first words to them, "Peace be with you." With this, Jesus proclaims his promise of peace that drives out all fear, confusion, chaos, and restores healing and wholeness of body and spirit. It is the promise of God's presence, always, everywhere. Thomas represents all of us who were not present at that initial experience of the risen Christ. He receives what he needs, an invitation to see, to touch, in order that he might believe in the risen Lord. And Thomas cries out, "My Lord and my God," a profound declaration of faith. As a kid growing up in the Catholic grade school in Kenosha, the Notre Dame nuns taught us, that's what you are to say to yourself, "My Lord and my God," every time the priest holds up the consecrated host and the chalice at consecration of Mass. "My Lord and my God." Although we will never literally be able to touch the wounds of Christ as Thomas could, we are invited to an intimate relationship with our God. And all of our questions, all of our doubts are welcome. Sometimes, because of our unanswered prayers, our health issues, our broken relationships, our loss of a job, some security, loss of loved ones, we can feel guilty about approaching God with what we feel are closed hearts. Countless saints have come to faith through struggle and doubt. Mother Teresa of Calcutta herself revealed in her journal that for much of her life, she experienced darkness rather than light of faith. Easter is this wonderful season that invites us to allow the risen Christ to break through, no matter how closed our hearts may feel, to receive the fullness of his unconditional love, his infinite mercy. Today, Divine Mercy Sunday recalls the appearances of Jesus to a Polish nun, Sister Faustina Kowalska, in the 1930s. Through a series of visions, the Lord asked her to promote trust in his infinite mercy. When she recorded and shared these visions in her journal and brought them to the church authorities, They were skeptical, just like Thomas. She died at the young age of 33, never knowing how her work would eventually influence the entire universal church. Soon after her death, a young seminarian read about her writings, Carol Wojtyła. And some years later, as Pope John Paul II, he offered this devotion to our church about 24 years ago. It is a celebration of God's peace offered to all who place their trust in Jesus, especially through the sacrament of reconciliation. And there can be no doubt that our world of divisions, our sometimes lack of respect for anyone different than ourselves, our conveniently choice to accrue things, even to hoard them rather than to share, truly need God's merciful forgiveness. In today's Acts of the Apostles reading we heard, the community of believers was of one heart and mind, sharing all according to their need. Lord, deepen our trust that we might place our lives in your hands as we come to your table to receive the body of Christ that you place in our hands. Help us to live the story of your risen presence among us through our mercy and our love for one another. God bless you.